You're listening to the Renegade Blitz, the best podcast for Steelers fans by Steelers fans. Follow us on Twitter at Renegade Blitz, at RBlitzPod, and at Blitz Videos. Read articles on RenegadeBlitz.com, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app.
And welcome back to the Renegade Blitz podcast. I'm Ty Polk for Chris Ward and Brandon Walker, and we're here to recap a tie, a 1919 tie, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Detroit Lions. Guys, I don't know what to say about that, really. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, it's enough to make you cry. Not really make you cry because this is just a game, but it's just not a good situation to really think about right now. Just so many missed opportunities, and the game was still winnable in the end, and nobody lost, but nobody won.
It was one of the worst games I've ever watched. Just really sloppy by both sides, really. And the announcer during the game, I guess Chris Myers, I think, said that it seems like neither of these teams want to win, and that's really how it felt too. But that whole game just felt off. Also that Fox, I don't like that broadcast is pretty bad too. I much prefer watching games on CBS than on Fox.
It was terrible. It's probably the worst, beautifully entertainingly crappy game I have ever seen. It was just a comedy of errors. Nobody wanted to win. Bad play calling at the end. We'll get to that because I'm gonna defend my guy. But we'll get to it. But we'll get to that. But
there's so much we could talk about. It may not
be a Tomlin special, but whoa, that was bad.
Yeah, I was thinking I'm probably going to write an article about it, but do you guys think that was the worst game, ever played, just like both sides, because it wasn't a loss, it was a tie. But, do you think that was the worst game ever played at Heinz Field, the history of Heinz Field?
No, there's been plenty of stinkers made by the Pitt Panthers out there. And
mine, pure Steelers game.
In terms of professional?
Yeah.
That 3-0 Miami game on Monday Night Football.
But that was because
that was weather, though.
Mother Nature. This was an unforced error of a game. That was quite possibly the worst game you could possibly see out of any professional team out there. And you knew it wasn't going to be a pretty game by any stretch of the imagination, especially when you got word that Ben Roethlisberger was out for this game due to COVID-19 protocols. So in stepped in Mason Rudolph. And that first drive for a backup was pretty good. And you thought, okay, maybe the Steelers still got this. But as you know, quickly, things went south, and they went south fast. Mason Rudolph had 50 pass attempts in the rain in Heinz Field. I don't know what type of air raid performance the Steelers wanted to have out of that. I mean, it had some good moments. Running Rudolph was pretty funny. I never thought I'd see a statue run that fast in my life. I really didn't think he could run that fast, but it almost made me go, the Steelers could have pulled off a Ryan Finley last year with the Cincinnati Bengals if they wanted to. They just chose not to.
Yeah.
Let's see how many.
Go ahead, Brandon.
See, they 30 for 50, 4.8 yards a play. A pass play. Not good. Harris rushed the ball. I thought he had a quiet game, but he quietly rushed for 105 yards. I did not know that, but
yeah,
he played a great game. He didn't play a bad game, but
just to have Rudolph throw 50 times. I know people were talking about his stats were kind of inflated because of the overtime, and they had to try to get in field goal range, but still, it's way too many attempts in the rain and stuff. I would like to see them get Harris even more rushing attempts, really, with the backup quarterback. The biggest thing was that 3 plays on the 5-yard line, and Matt Canada called 3 pass plays in a row, and they all fell incomplete. I know on that 3rd down, Rudolph missed McLeod. He threw it too low, and he was open for a touchdown. If they get that, we're talking about a Steelers win today.
You can talk about also with the pass play to Deontay Johnson. It was all arm, according to Nick Farabaugh. And Mason Rudolph didn't even have like a proper passing motion. And who knows if he has a proper passing motion, Deontay's off to the races. And again, this is a Steelers win in regulation. You could talk so much about this game in terms of offensive play calling, flat out execution, ball control, tackling. It was a hater's delight, for lack of a better term. With that, you hated this performance by the Steelers. You just absolutely detested it, despised it, loathed it. You can use so many words to say that this was just an all-time bad performance by the Steelers, and really the only ray of sunshine out of that was Cam Hayward.
Yeah. There was a few other, Highsmith I thought played a pretty good game. Terrell Edmonds actually played a really solid game. There was a few other, but it was pretty bad across the board. We'll get to it more, I'm sure, unless you guys want to get it now. But how bad has Devin Bush been? That was a terrible performance there. I know
what type of rap tackle was he trying to do there? That didn't even look passable. For all it is, the most football experience I have is playing with your boy Pizza on a field up on the 3rd lot of Kennywood. But I could say this. I think I had better tackle technique there. I actually got a forced fumble that game. So I don't know what's going on with the Steelers in terms of tackling form. Really anything involving the most important part of a defender's repertoire is tackling. And they could not do that.
Yeah, he would have stopped him short there. Who knows? Maybe the Steelers, well short of the end zone. I think he was around the 20-yard line. Who knows? Maybe they force a field goal there, because the Lions' offense really wasn't all that impressive, especially passing the ball. But for them to rush for 229 yards, that's just embarrassing. I've been writing and stuff that on that defensive line, those backups haven't been stepping up, and it's really just Hayward and a bunch of guys on that defensive line. They're really missing Tyson Alualu and Stephon Tuitt right now.
And also to talk about this, Warren Sapp is disrespecting Cam Hayward as we speak on Twitter.
Yeah, somehow Warren Sapp didn't know who Cameron Hayward was. I guess after the Sunday Night Football game yesterday, NBC was previewing this week's Steelers-Chargers game, and they had a picture of
Cam Hayward, because Ben, there's no telling if Ben can even play this game, so they needed the next best Steeler. And if they weren't going to use an offensive Steeler like Harris or anything, I guess, and also TJ Watt's not possibly playing this game either, I guess they had to go with the next best thing, which was Hayward. And Cam Hayward has just been disrespected by just about everyone in this league, going from Tony Grossi to now a Hall of Fame defensive tackle in Warren Sapp, who I have a ton of respect for. But I could say this, Warren, get out of here with that nonsense.
Yeah, and he's a former football, and he's an analyst. He used to be on the NFL Network, so I'm assuming he still watches the game and he's pretty in tune with everything, but obviously not for him to not know who Cameron Hayward is.
He knows who he is. He just doesn't think that he's as great as player as Sapp.
Or even Aaron Donald, I guess.
Aaron Donald. No. What? Whoa. Hold up. Sapp was talking about Aaron Donald is not as good as Sapp?
No, Aaron. No, I guess he's saying that Cam Hayward's not as good, and you're going to assume that the next possible player you could say, when you think of Cam Hayward, you think of him as probably the best 3-4 defensive tackle in the league, and then Aaron Donald is unequivocally the best 4-3 defensive end tackle, whatever you want to call him, in the league. So I guess whenever you think of that, Aaron Donald, because I guess he's in a defense that's similar to Sapp's, which is predicated off of the linemen getting pressure up the field as quickly as possible, compared to Cam Hayward, which in a 3-4 technically is more a hole plugger more than anything else. but Hayward has shown that he can do this as well as anyone else in the league.
Definitely. But yeah, that's bad when he gets disrespect. The Steelers gave up 5.9 yards a carry. That's terrible.
Yeah. It's just reading it and talking about it's
bad.
Not a good, especially being that we watched the Steelers all these years, and back in those mid 2000s Steelers defense. I mean, teams didn't even try to run the ball. I mean, I have a great appreciation of a good run defense, and man, the Steelers have really lacked in that area this year.
Sure, puss. So you're saying Devin Bush is now a bust. You're calling him a bust.
I'm like.
You're labeling him as a bust.
Yeah, I don't think he's that good. I'll be honest. Like maybe he turns around like Bud Dupree did. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But right now, from what I'm seeing, I know he's coming off the ACL injury, and I actually defended him a couple of weeks ago, saying I gave him the benefit of the doubt. But his size was a worry when he came out of the draft, and I wasn't really like he didn't really like. If you go back and watch his Ohio State film, his last year at Michigan, I wasn't really too impressed, and that was one of my biggest question marks. I mean, the Steelers traded up for him and picked him at 10th overall. I mean, this guy is not looking like a 10th overall pick. I mean, not even close.
Isn't he like 5'11"?
He's not 5'11". Hold on. Let me.
Normally, when you think of a guy being 5'11" as a linebacker out here, he's probably going to get transitioned to safety. And you think about that back then with Mark Barron as the money backer for the Steelers, that's effectively who he replaced.
But man, like he was sick. Like Barron was 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah, Barron
was a big safety.
Barron effectively played safety linebacker for them, striker as Miami would like to call it. The University.
Yeah. And the Steelers drafted Bush to be like their hybrid, pass coverage guy too. He hasn't been great in that area either. I mean, they've been taking him off the field.
He was supposed to replace Shazier.
Yeah, he was supposed to be their guy for Shazier, and I kind of want to hesitate a little bit because he is coming off. But I mean, how long can we use that excuse coming off the ACL? It's been over a year now. I don't want to sound too critical or whatever. But
let's take a look at the guy that he was a linebacker partner with Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree only has one sack.
Yeah, but I mean, Dupree's
predicated on being a pass rusher, but he's also a support gunner.
Yeah,
you have to give. I don't know what to do in this situation, but if he's not doing something where at the very base, fine. If you can't exactly do pass coverage well, at the very least, you have to stop him. He's not doing that. And also with run coverage, that's the one thing. If it's fine. If you cannot do that as well as you used to, you have to find the gaps and get the running back out there. And Detroit wasn't even using their best running back after that touchdown. He was hurt. So what's up?
It's probably gap discipline because there was a lot of missed tackles. A lot of it. I saw Schobert miss pursue some. Fitzpatrick pursued a couple. Edmonds had that nice sack, but he missed pursued a little bit. Everybody except Hayward. Wasn't for Hayward, that defense would have been shredded apart by the Lions. And the fact of the matter is, they knew they were running the ball. Jared Goff is hurt, and credit to him. I thought when he left the Rams and with McVay and all that, he didn't have the heart or whatever reason. Yesterday showed me because he was hurt, played hurt, got better as the game went on, tried to leave him back. He's convinced me he might not be the best quarterback, but he showed that he won me over as a football player.
Yeah, competitor in that. Yeah, I mean he's a perfect game manager, and you think back to everything he did with the Rams in terms of they got to the line so fast so they could use up every little bit of that time before at 15 seconds they have to shut off communications between the coach and the quarterback, and it's clear that he's that he's a little bit more than that. I think more than they can give credit. I mean, you remember with Jeff Fisher, and as much as I love Jeff Fisher, unless you have Steve McNair or early Vince Young at quarterback, he's going 7-9, and that's just a fact of life. But Jared Goff did show something out there, and really the entire line team showed something. If they have anything of a relevant kicker in that situation, that's a win. If they have Jason Hansen back there at kicking the ball, that's a win.
Yeah, that definitely is. And if they would have helped if they had a decent, I mean, they had the one receiver, St. Brown, but everybody else I didn't even heard of. Like, so when we did their preview, we had to struggle to find out who they were.
Yeah, we talked to him.
It was bad.
We were like, what's up with these wide receivers? How'd they get to this? And he said they lost Galladay and stuff, and they just haven't.
Marvin Jones is gone.
Yeah, they've lost a lot of players. They just but they don't. The Lions are. I mean, they play tough, but I mean, they're just a bad team. Like, they just. How about that interception they almost had at the end there, where Rudolph threw a terrible pass? I mean, it would set them up in Steelers territory, and like, I know their field goal kicker was struggling, but maybe they set him up for a shorter field goal there.
He had that low trajectory kick that looked like it was more airmailed for the right post on the broadcast camera. I was looking at him going, like, that's going post, and I don't even think it made that. But
it was short, real short. It was like, ugh. Yeah. It was an ugly kick, but he was kicking at the Heinz. I mean, at the bad end of Heinz Field.
They were saying that someone got a piece of it, and no one got a piece of that.
Yeah, I mean, I just Boswell continues to be consistent and really clutch. I mean, it's just a shame that the Steelers couldn't set him up for a game winner. I mean, on the Steelers' last drive in the fourth quarter, they got the ball at the 48-yard line on their 48-yard line. Or no, I think it might have been Detroit's 48-yard line.
Regardless, near midfield, they got that.
They went 3 and out. I was like, I mean, who thought? Did you guys think that they were gonna? I kind of had a feeling that they might go in there for the game winner, like field goal there. I mean, they were set up great there.
Really, let's talk about the overtime situations with that. The Deontay Johnson fumble, and Brandon, me and you were on Colorcast, and I mentioned it with the Deshaun Jackson fumble. Right. That's just leaving the bread at home, for lack of a better term. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what Deontay was trying to do in that situation. He tries to make something out of nothing, but there's a lot of times where I just sit there. Remember, Chase Claypool during that final reception against Cleveland was yelling, "Get down, get down, get down," motioning it. And he's just trying to make a play right now, and it's just that at this moment, he's a good separation wide receiver. When he gets his hands on it and completes the catch, he's dangerous. But it's just in these situations.
He lacks awareness. He lacks awareness. Deontay Johnson could be a top 5 wide receiver in the league if he had his damn head on his shoulders. if he has focus, runs the right routes. It's always something missing mentally in his game that prevents him being a top 5 wide receiver in the game. Because I think he has better. I think he was just as good of a route runner as Tyreek Hill. He's just almost as fast as anybody out there. He has good hands when he concentrates, but something's missing there.
He needs a sports psychologist in the worst way. Whoever helped out Marc-Andre Fleury during the years that the Penguins were just getting absolutely killed in the playoffs because of him. They need to get him on the line right now. Call the Penguins organization and find that guy. Because right now, we're seeing a really good wide receiver implode in real time. And it's been like this for the past 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to go out of bounds there. I know he said after the game he was just trying to make a play. Like he mentioned, like anybody else would try to do that, try to get a big play there. Overtime, but he's got to secure the ball better, obviously. But I mean, that was a great play there by Mark Gilbert, who was actually with the Steelers earlier this year. He's an undrafted free agent.
Shout out to my cousin.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Seriously.
I knew. I was like, wait, that name sounded so familiar during the broadcast. And I was like, oh my God. Of course. What was it? Monday night, Cassius Marsh?
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon,
Sunday
Mark
afternoon.
Gilbert. Come
Mark
on,
Gilbert.
man. Come on, man.
Like, no, seriously. I will vouch for it. He is my cousin.
No.
I don't want to put my family into it and say all that.
I mean, I could plug a certain
podcast, but
former Steelers quarterback, but I'm just not going to do that. I mean, by all means, flex your chest out there, Brandon. Put it out there. That's all me. That's Walker. That's Walker power. But anyway,
yeah, he's related to the famous Al Clippa Darrell.
Sean Gilbert.
Yeah, Sean Gilbert.
That's his uncle.
Yeah.
Sean Gilbert, Darrell Revis, all of them.
Yeah, so
I mean, hey, put it out there, man. I mean, by all means, just let it go. But in terms of everything with the Steelers right now, it's all in the head. It really is. I mean, Freiermuth made a mistake. I don't know if he was even going to be able to get out of bounds in that situation anyway, because there was a lion on top of him almost the second he made that catch. He decided to turn upfield for some reason. The Steelers had no timeouts. He was warded off the sideline anyway, if you look back at that. So in the end with Freiermuth, that's just unfortunate, but time was going to expire.
Yeah, that was the worst play call during the Tallman era. I think that has to go up there because you're at the 39 yard line.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Because I watched Jaguar Gator 9. If you don't watch him, watch his stuff on YouTube. I was like, the dumbest play call. Yeah, it's up there because you're gonna go even if he catches it, even if you spike the ball, you're going from a 56-yard field goal to a 55-yard field goal. If you're gonna do anything, try to go in the boundaries at least 10 yards down the field. And if not, throw the ball away and just try to go for the 56-yard field goal anyway.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, hold on. And the fact of the matter is, Rudolph is a one-read quarterback. That's his issue. He can only handle one read at a time. So guess who was the primary option on that play?
Freiermuth.
Penn State Pat. Why? That is a stupid-ass play call that was just dumb. So, I don't know. I can't blame him. I know he fumbled. You're going to forget about it, the Steelers fans, because he's going to be a star in the league, making big catches in big games, and they didn't lose the game anyway, so.
I mean, there was 15 seconds left there, and they had no timeouts. I saw people were talking today about it. Do you think they should have just went for the field goal, that 56-yarder with Boswell just from there with 15 seconds left? He's
probably the one guy, not Justin Tucker in this league, that I would trust in that situation.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of kickers in this league that maybe if they could hop in a time machine back then and play in today's Heinz Field, they'd probably make that kick. I believe that Boswell, if he gets a boot on it and there's no hands on it, it has a fighting chance of going in.
It has a chance, but you're discounting the weather too, Ty.
Oh, I know it was a rainy situation.
It was a rainy day.
I mean, don't let me not think that it was going to be a bad situation out there. Trust me. I got back from Philadelphia very late, but I could see whenever I went outside later after the game to go handle some business that yes, it was raining out there. It was windy. But again, a guy like Boswell, that's his home stadium. He knows that, and it's not a situation where you're just trying to throw your kicker out there for 60 plus in Heinz Field because you need a field goal to win.
Right. I would rather see them tie the game if Boswell missed a field goal like that instead of with Fryer. That play, especially too, where he fumbled the ball. I think what they were thinking was like they were trying to get a quick route to Freiermuth and get out of bounds and get
for 1 yard.
No, they were probably thinking
1 yard.
They were probably thinking 5 yards.
What were they thinking for 1 yard? for 1 damn yard. At least get 5 yards out of it. You're gonna run 5 out and go out of bounds. They couldn't think of doing that.
They ran that same play earlier when it was a 3rd and goal situation. He got stopped short, and they ended up kicking a field goal. He got a little bit more yards on that play, so I think that's what they were thinking.
If it didn't work, then why run it again?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just telling you.
You need a 5-yard out to at least let it be a manageable field goal. Even
51.
51.
I'd have 51. Boswell would have been money.
There's no question he's money.
50,
I think
50 on that field, especially if it's not on the better end of the Heinz field.
It was on the closed
50,
end.
Yeah, I said on the good end. The closed end. Good end.
Well, it's not really closed, but they put that nice little scoreboard up in the left corner that certainly helps out. The wind can only come up through the top and that right side, but that's still a money situation.
Okay, yeah. They ran this play in the second quarter when they ended up kicking the field goal to tie it 10-10. It was a 3rd and goal at Detroit's 8-yard line, and it was the same play, short right to Freiermuth. It ended up being 6 yards, and he ran for most. It was like a 1-yard catch, 5 yards run. So I think that's what they were thinking in that situation.
Oh, you throw it. You could have had. Yeah, I wouldn't trust Deontay Johnson in any clutch situation right now. But you could have gotten some for McDonald. Could have gotten one for James Washington. You could have had him run a 5-yard out, 5 to 7 yard out.
Yeah,
and catches
it. They didn't really have James Washington that much in the game plan after that first drive, which is kind of surprising. They were really heavy. Canada has like some obsession with McLeod. He got a lot of touches, which is kind of
he's always like skitterish wide receiver. That's that's the Canada special. Basically, anyone that could be used on a jet motion or an orbit, that's what Canada wants out there. There's a bunch of other wide receivers that could do that. I think even you could give it to James Washington if they wanted to run like some sort of funky wishbone orbit with a wide receiver. I'm surprised they haven't thought of anything super old school like that. There's just so much that they could do in that situation, but why go to McLeod? Who, by the way, at this point, I think I've given up on.
He's scary back there returning punts. Man, he almost dropped that.
I went from wanting him to break it with Guthrie. Like, me and him were just trying to will that for the last year and a half, and it's not happening, and I'm really upset about
it. Yeah, and I just can't believe, going back to that one of the like end of the fourth quarter when they had that drive, and they actually got the ball at Detroit's 48-yard line. So talking about Boswell's range, they needed like 10-15 yards.
10 yards.
Yeah.
10 yards.
And they couldn't get a first down.
Let me ask you guys a question here. Throw it out there. One would Ben. We all think Ben would have found a way to win that game if he was healthy.
Oh yeah.
If it was any other team in the National Football League, would they have won yesterday at all?
Any other team.
Any other team.
In that situation, well, you got to remember a few weeks ago they did it at Cleveland. But even then, I don't know about that situation at all. That was an all-time bad performance. But I think this, again, I said it on there. Terrible quarterbacks make terrible games. And not to say that Jared Goff is terrible, but he ain't good. And not to say that Mason Rudolph is terrible, but he ain't good. So in this situation, do I think any iteration of Ben Roethlisberger from Miami of Ohio to his high school in Ohio to right now would have at least gotten that in field goal range for the Steelers? I mean, you could just look at Monday night against Chicago. I think if you let Ben Roethlisberger have one last chance out there, and he's gone back into that 2008 Ben situation where after he threw a couple interceptions, he's just not going to throw anything out there, or he's just going to get lucky. I think that they could have won that game with Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, no doubt. He would have made that throw to McLeod there in the end zone. He would have made the throw to Johnson on that 3rd and 3.
When it matters, he's going to make those plays.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they would have blown out the Lions because I don't think the Steelers really that.
They're not capable of blowing out anything right now.
They definitely would have won that game. I mean, even if they had
the play calling would have been different too.
Yeah,
I don't think Ben would be with that bull job that on that final play with Fryer move. He wouldn't have been.
Steelers can't blow out a diaper right now. I mean, there's just no way they were going to do that. They were going to have I'll put it to you like this: if Ben Roethlisberger's in at quarterback, they pull away at the end. There's no doubt about that.
They would still possible up there for a game winner. Even if the Steelers had a better backup quarterback, I mean, I wasn't impressed with Rudolph. He wasn't helped out.
Who was going to do that much better? Was Haskins going to pull something off in an NFL game right now?
Hell no. No,
not Haskins.
Would Josh Dobbs have done something? Maybe. But Haskins, no. Could they have found Duck Hodges off of whatever Canadian football team out there? I believe it's Ottawa Red Blacks.
Oh, hold on. Where is he?
Ottawa Red Blacks.
I don't know. The defense certainly didn't help either because when Hodges.
Sometimes you just need a guy that's going to go out there and say, you know what, someone's got to do something out here.
When Hodges when he won some of those games in 2019, the defenses they were completely different now. Now they only have 8 turnovers.
They don't have any opportunistic out there. There's no edges on that team. And I don't mean edge rushers. I mean edge the wrestler. There's no ultimate opportunists on this team right now. And that was the difference between them going 8-8 in 2019 and 8-1 probably this season.
8-1.
Yeah, it's looking like the
Taxes, non-losing season, the Steelers' motto.
It's looking like that. 5 of their last 8 games are on the road, and they only play one team that currently has a losing record, which is the Vikings. So I don't know. And in the last 3 seasons, the Steelers have collapsed down the stretch. So
yes,
I don't know.
I don't think there's going to be a collapse. They're just not. They're going to play too hard at some point during this game to not have a collapse right now, because I think they know in their heart of hearts they're not good right now, and that's the difference.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe get to 7-9-1 or 8-8-1. I think that's like their ceiling right now.
Wow, y'all feeling. Y'all are like, that means you said at last 9 games. Oh, 8 games. Sorry, you only have a win in 2 games. That's what you're saying.
That's Chris saying 2. I say 3. They're going to find 3 games.
I have them going 8-9. I know now it's kind of different with the
8-1.
Yeah. So I'm kind of they have 8 games, so 2 wins would be 7-9-1.
The window is closed shut for a winning season, I think now.
No, it's not.
I wouldn't be surprised if they won 2.
And this is me I'm being the positive one. I am being the half-ass full one out of the 3.
And it's tougher, and you know how it is with me. I've always been the level-headed one, but I just can't see it now.
All right, go down the schedule. Will they win this Sunday night against the Chargers?
I think in SoFi Stadium, I will always give the home team a chance in there, but they haven't looked good either. But the difference is
Chargers have more talent.
Yeah.
The talent level between
and when you look at right now, it's COVID City. It's COVID City right now for the Steelers. Fitzpatrick is going to be out. So that means they have a choice between Carl Joseph or Trey Norwood back at safety.
Well, they'll have to see if Fitzpatrick they haven't announced if he's not vaccinated, he's obviously out, but if he's vaccinated,
he has 2 shots at it.
Yeah, within 24 hours. So like he could play on Sunday. It's just the Fitzpatrick.
It looks like he's gonna miss the game.
Why? How do you know? He's all he has to do is test negative twice in 24 hours.
Probably. We'll see. Well, anyway, okay. Do you think so you guys are calling that a loss?
I think they lose this Sunday night.
I'm not confident on it. As of right now, I'd say loss. Unless there has to be a lot that changes in between our podcast that we will be recording Wednesday night and maybe even past that into Saturday. Like if
Which
Rob
we will
Carter
be doing
plays,
the color back.
there's
We
something
might be
out there.
doing the color cast for that. Steelers Chargers.
Gotta run home from Philadelphia there, but I know this is official. I'm driving there, so I gotta run home from Philadelphia once again. But I think it's doable.
I said we may be. I didn't say at the Bengals. That's after that.
I don't know, man. The Bengals are the Bengals, which is a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get out of there, but at least against the AFC North, you have some consistency with that team.
I could see. I don't know. I have to see what I could see them winning that game.
Okay. Ravens.
They get up for the Ravens.
At home. This is going to be this time. The first time it's going to be at home.
I think they win that one.
I think they'll split with the Ravens. So I'll give them. I don't know when it's going to be, but I think they play them in January also. So I'll say win, loss either way.
So you're not confident in that game either. At the Vikings.
Win.
I could see them potentially losing that one. Short week on the road.
That's a Thursday. That's rough. Those Thursday night road games are rough.
That's after playing the Ravens too. So even if they win, I could see them possibly dropping that game.
Still think it's a win. I'll never be confident in Minnesota with Cousins at quarterback, especially in a primetime game.
At home against the Titans.
Loss.
That one gets really dicey because the Titans offense is still the Titans offense right now, and that's pretty good. And they went into Los Angeles and punched the Rams in the mouth in a revenge game for that Super Bowl where they came up 1 yard short. But
that's 22 years ago, Ty.
I don't care. That's the first Super Bowl I remember. But so yeah. I think that's the loss.
That's a loss. So you're saying you have two. So you got all right. You got. I think
any AFC North game at home, they win. So you can pencil in the win against Cleveland.
All right, Cleveland and the Ravens.
You
never know what you're going to get with the Ravens either. They're not as consistent as they used to be, too.
They play out the Chiefs, too.
Oh, yeah, that we ain't even – we're all chalking.
Come on, man. Patty Mahomes is going to come back and have those bombs against him because the Steelers just can't keep a lid on these.
Actually,
oh, yeah, man.
We're starting to turn things around a little bit, the Chiefs.
But, yeah, we saw it in action last night. Me and Todd just was broadcasting it. We're
so
they're back.
I don't know. Put it this way: I don't think they win 4 games the rest of so they won't go. I don't see them going 9-7-1, which I think is what's needed for to make the playoffs.
All right, let's see. You don't think they're right now? They're 5th, right? Let's see.
They're 5th in the conference, and the win would have put them to 2nd behind the Titans.
2nd?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to go to the AFC standings. I
mean, you have to remember, I might become positive by the time the next podcast comes through because it's the Monday after this, and it's tough. It's overreaction Monday for me. I could come back Wednesday and go, you know what? I'm going to run that back and say they still finished awesome. I mean, I could still say that. But the roadmap looks so sketcy for them. The roadmap looks really sketchy, and that's what I don't like.
Just imagine if they go 8-1, and then everybody's like, Tomlin's never had a losing season.
Death taxes Tomlin's not having a losing season. That's exactly how it's going to be. I think Tomlin's more likely to have a losing season next year than this year.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of. What I project him to be is kind of what I saw in the beginning of the year.
You saw him. That's that.
I had him like 8-9, or 8-9. So
you actually had him 7-10.
No, that was my.
You had him running up from like 7-10, 8-9. Yeah, I had them at 10-7. I had them at 10-7, and at the high end, that was the high end for me.
No. let me clarify. I had him 7-10 after the schedule was released, and then before the season, I had him 8-9.
Okay, we'll see if all right,
I had them consistently
similar
10 and
teams
7.
in the conference. All right, the Colts, are they better than the? Well, we'll find out. All right, you don't think they're better than the Titans?
No.
You don't think they're better than the Chiefs?
No.
We'll find out if they're better than the Chargers. Do you think they're better than the Chargers? We'll find out Sunday.
Yeah, we'll find out Sunday.
Everything's possible with this team. They can go walk right into Los Angeles and beat the Chargers.
Okay.
That's how crazy this team could be whenever it does what they're expected to do. The problem is with the Steelers right now, I don't know if they can do they can handle their business, and that's just coming off a 16-16 loss to the Lions, who play hard. There's no question.
The Chargers are the same way.
The Chargers at least have a potential pedigree in which they can get things right.
Okay. If they played the Bills again, would they beat them?
I don't think so.
No, they are not beating the Bills against it. That was a perfect situation. If they had Melvin Ingram back, I'd say that, all right, I'd basically look at Melvin and say, hey, what did you do against Buffalo? You need to do that now.
Okay. Are they better than a certain team that plays in a city 30 minutes outside of Boston?
New England?
Oh, no, not now. New England's on a roll right now.
Oh, yeah.
I think Bill Belichick could basically coach me and you right now. But
yeah, Belichick.
But one thing I want to put to right now, the Steelers are. I'll put it to you like this: if it's in Pittsburgh, it's 50-50. If it's in New England's winning.
So where do you see them? Do you think they'll make the playoffs? Since you're naming all these teams, then so it will come down close. I think it's going to come down to that final week.
They'll TLC creep into the playoffs. There's no doubt about it.
Who?
8-1.
The Steelers?
If they make it to the playoffs, it's a TLC creep. That's what I want to say.
It's a TLC creep.
So
they're keeping it on the down low.
Do they need? Do you
It'll
think
be a 7. It'll be because somebody lost. And that tie will benefit them.
Do you think they need 8 wins or 9 to make the playoffs?
9.
That's what I'm thinking too, and I don't know if I see them winning.
Because you got every team.
The fact that they literally have sat around that 7th seed before they put the 7th seed into the playoffs. That's my one hope with this team right now. The fact that there is a 7th seed in the playoffs, and even whenever they didn't make the playoffs the previous years. Before they added in this 7th seed, that's where they've been. Somehow, some way, they end up on that seed.
It's like, look, you got every team in the AFC West has at least 5 wins. Every team in the Steelers of it, AFC North, has 5 wins. The Bills and the Patriots have 6 wins. Colts have 5 wins. Titans have 8 wins. You got 12 teams. It's going to be a war.
Yeah, that's why
it's going to be like a fight.
This Sunday night's game's pretty big. I think
it's big.
It could, I know there's 8 games left, but this back half of the schedule, it's going to go by fast. And
I really think their division, if they handle their business in the division, that means they have to go walk into Cincinnati and take out Cincinnati.
Yeah, they can't lose back to back there.
They can't. They can split the Bengals. I don't think they can split. They can't split the Browns. No. And it's getting to the point with them where I don't think they can split against the Ravens and have a shot.
And the next three games are very pivotal. I think that's really going to see what it's going to set up the end.
It's always been quadrants, and really, and that win against the Lions is so monumental because they can afford to split with the Ravens.
You mean the tie?
Yeah. I think that tie can help. That tie helps them in a way.
It does. It does.
It could hurt them
because it could hurt them. But the tie was against an NFC. No. Yeah, the tie was against an NFC team.
Yeah, that's true.
You're going to tie. You tie against an NFC opponent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Because if you tie against an AFC opponent, that will split it up, and another team can go over the top of you.
Yeah, it could be a potential tiebreaker with the AFC North.
Yeah,
because common opponents too. They're division teams.
Yep.
Depending on
what
tiebreaker it comes down to.
All right, so we basically talked about playoff scenarios and all this. We haven't really covered the defensive performance outside of Cam Hayward. Of course, the injury bug hit the Steelers. With T.J. Watt knocking knees, and apparently it also affected his hip as well, and that's probably going to keep him out for a few games, and that's monumental. And then Joe Hayden, a foot injury. They say that it's not as bad as once expected. It kept him out for the rest of the game, but there's a possibility that he could play against Los Angeles Chargers. So there's something to be said about the injury bug with it, and the question is, it's next man up. So, of course, with Minka's potential COVID out for that, the question is, can Trey Norwood step up and go back to his safety position and do something? And he's been one of the bright spots with that secondary alongside James Pierre. So there has to be a lot there, but it's going to be a Herculean performance, and they have to get something. They have to get another big game out of Terrell Edmonds. There's no question about it.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying T.J. Watt, he avoided major injury.
Yeah, but he's not playing. I don't think he's playing.
You don't think so?
Yeah, they're gonna do the same thing. They're gonna protect the money.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big.
Can they afford to?
They're gonna have to put in big trust to Charlton, and Cam Hayward's gonna have to have another monster game. And I think because he had bet underneath Warren Sapp's post, he will have that monster game.
Yeah.
Is Ben play? You think Ben's gonna play on Sunday?
If he's cleared from the coat, if he makes it out of protocol and there's all signs pointing to it, yes.
We'll see.
And you never know. If Minka's cleared from it, there's going to be a question where if the Steelers just basically held out Roethlisberger and said COVID, because everything that points down to it, the self-diagnosis. Even though I do not believe I have that. What's that type of thought for it? I can't remember the word off the top of my head. I don't think I have that type of think process in which the Steelers would have just basically said, yeah, COVID just to take advantage. But
conspiracy?
Yeah, conspiracy with that.
I'll be surprised if they.
I don't think they would do something like that. They would have just said, yeah, if Roethlisberger's out. Yeah, just as a maintenance. But I don't think you wanted to do that against any team like that and give Detroit a lick of get up for that game. Even though I think their head coach, Dan Campbell's personality means that Detroit's going to have get up no matter what. Let's just not give him extra.
Did you guys listen to Rudolph's post-game interview?
What did you say?
It was discussed. I actually read on one article about what he said. What he said during the game or during his press or his post game was that he didn't talk with Roethlisberger the night before when he got the news that he was going to start. And I've seen some people criticizing Roethlisberger, saying that that's a lack of leadership. And he mentioned the person that wrote it said that that he was sick too. So he doesn't know the nature of it. But I don't know if you guys go back and watch that Rudolph, the way he responded to it. He just said he didn't have any communication with him prior to the game. So what was your guys' thought? I was thinking about tweeting it out, but I didn't want to get any how people they they assume things. But this a prominent writer was writing about this.
It was a bang situation. I mean, I was in a hotel and I looked down and seen Ben Roethlisberger out, COVID. What?
Yeah,
that's the type of thing. And Rudolph had second team reps the entire week going into it. So that also played a role into this. But I'd look at it like that.
Definitely.
I'd look at it like this. It's a lot to ask for a guy to try to contact him and say, "Hey, someone's out," because it happened at nighttime. It happened almost near
Saturday
the middle of the night. So there's just a level. There's just a level of, okay, how quickly can you ask something like that? You have less than 24 hours to say, "Yo, what did you see from this game?"
It was around 8:00, but I think if Roethlisberger at least texted him saying like, "Hey, good luck tomorrow," you think Rudolph would have said that in his post-game interview?
No.
I think
What do you think about the dynamic between?
What's a good luck text gonna do?
Because they asked him, "Did you communicate with him prior to the game?"
We don't know what the definition of communication is with that. See, when I think of communication, I don't necessarily think of a text message because that's just words. If someone actively called me, I would call that communication. I would just say that, we texted each other. I wouldn't be surprised when it comes out during the week that it was maybe sometime.
The reporter said, "Did you communicate with him at all?"
Was it Aditi?
It might have been. I don't know. I have to look.
Yeah, because I remember hearing something on the fan about that, in which effectively there was a question she asked that turned into full-on warfare in that post-game presser. But I never really sat there and listened.
People were upset with her asking that question.
No, people were basically talking over like that. The press corps turned into a bunch of wild animals after that.
Yeah, I did hear that. They were talking over each other somewhat, but I didn't really think it was. I'm not going to name who the writer was saying, but he said that.
Oh, it was a he. So that's just big time assumptions on my end, and that's my bad. Because I don't like doing assumption stuff. Like,
no. I think you're right about in their interview process.
Yeah, I know about that because she said that in there. I was listening to it in the car. But in terms of that, if you're talking about the writer and it was a he, I think I would have put that out there and put that assumption in there. That's
it was a male writer who said that.
Okay, and I'm done with them. In that case, that's my bad. That's many crap disturbing. Even though I'm basically just a speck on the quote unquote ass of Steelers media, and not even that. But
the writer just said that he thought it was a bad look for Roethlisberger, and he questioned his leadership. So I don't know.
Roethlisberger's leadership gets questioned whenever he goes and takes a dump and decides to put the toilet paper a certain way. So I'm not really gonna put any stock into a writer's thing. If a player said it or a former player said it, that means a little bit more. But even with it, Roethlisberger's leadership when it came to that, since Mason Rudolph was drafted, and that's day one, his leadership will get questioned for just about anything.
Oh, yeah, because how do you think their dynamic is now?
Slightly better.
He dogged him out the minute he got drafted. And he was a third-round pick?
That's where, when I tweeted about, I said Mason Rudolph said that he didn't communicate with Roethlisberger last night, before the game or whatever. And some of the people were saying that, like, oh, they don't like each other. You know how people on Twitter are saying, like, oh, and you bring up a good point because he dogged him out when they drafted him.
I mean, Ben treated it like he was the first overall selection. Like at least Aaron Rodgers could say, yo, they spent a first round pick. Like a mid-rounder, a day 2 pick, he lost everything on it. And it was all because Mason Rudolph just happened to have a great game in Heinz Field for Oklahoma State.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
But you make a good point about saying how that, you don't know what level of communication were they meaning, like, did he talk to him? Because, if Roethlisberger was sick, and with COVID, I don't think that was his first thing to think about.
And they did say he had, like, a little bit of symptoms.
Yeah, but I would think that he would have at least texted him even in the morning, but we don't really know what the nature of that question was.
I mean, who's not to say that he attempted? It's always phone tag.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I mean, do you want to take the guy's cell phone?
Yeah.
It's grown men, and plus, even with that, Mason Rudolph, there's a level of yes, he had second team reps, but you're always preparing as a backup. And Mason Rudolph is, after this game, I said it on the R Blitz Pod Twitter account that Rudolph isn't a bridge quarterback. He's not even an overpass quarterback. But
he is a career backup.
Bingo.
He will be let me say this.
He'll have a Mike White moment at one point.
He'll have a Mike White moment. He'll play for a long time because quarterbacks play for a long time. I get a couple starts a year and make $5 million. Backup quarterbacks make like $7-8 million now, and he's gonna make a lot of money doing it.
The entire league makes pretty good money now. Even you look at some of the salaries that, like, if you look at their on overthecap.com, I mean, like, the lowest player makes like $500,000, I think.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about you said he's not even a bridge quarterback. Yeah, he's not, but I think he's a high-end backup, a good backup.
I think he's a solid backup for what it is, but there's gonna be some things he has to improve on if he wants to be into that upper tier. He won't kill you. That's the most important thing.
No. So hold up. Let's ask a question here, because this podcast has won way too.
Yeah, we haven't touched that 45 minutes. We want to get that 45-minute range, but
yeah, we are way past it. But okay. Say Ben retires. Are you comfortable? And they draft a quarterback maybe first round. Are you comfortable with Mason Rudolph maybe starting the first 3-4 games of next year?
Because I think it'll be a multi-quarterback committee with the Steelers anyway until they actively find a quarterback in there. If they go high
next year,
if they go high for a pick, Mason Rudolph has four games. If they go mid for it, if it goes past the second round, Mason Rudolph has 6 games. But someone else out of there, if they really believe in Haskins, which they did at one point, they're probably going to have some sort of split in there. Be it a quarterback who's not even in the league right now, a quarterback who's somewhere in this league right now, or in the locker room right now for the Steelers. It's going to be a split at a certain point, and they're going to have to see if Rudolph truly has something.
Yeah, I think I could see them going with him as the starter, but I think it'll be a mistake. I think they have to look maybe to find a better veteran quarterback.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm not talking about him being the starter for 16 games. Yeah, I'm talking about, would you be comfortable
that's what I'm talking about.
Start for a few games to get a rookie ready?
That's what I'm talking about. I don't think he's even a bridge quarterback.
He's a mo quarterback right now.
Yeah, he's like a placeholder. You say he's not even a placeholder quarterback.
No, he's a life preserver. He'll keep you alive, but barely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not to say that he goes out there and steals a win, and largely, if it wasn't for a few mistakes in terms of ball control, they steal the win. Fine. But you're just asking for something to get stolen there with it. When you have him at quarterback, you're just asking for him to steal something. And there was enough to get a win in this situation stolen. But again, it's against a team that's 0-8. So is it stealing or is it just borrowing a win?
Yeah, they didn't even borrow the win. They just didn't blow it. Like, it was like the fact that they can't. I'm sorry. It's the fact that they couldn't play. They couldn't beat any other team. They don't know how to win games. This iteration of the Detroit Lions don't know how to win unless they could have won it. That's the reason why the Steelers did not lose this game, because Detroit don't know how to win.
Chicago didn't know how to win either.
Yeah, no,
but they don't know how to win, but they won games. They just didn't. Their coach sucks. They're terrible. He's terrible. If they had competent coaching, they would have beat the Steelers on Monday night. If Detroit had competent players, they would have won on yesterday.
So what do you guys think about the parity across the league? Because I know I've talked with Brandon about this through messages on Facebook, and then even yesterday the Fox pregame show actually talked about it. Do you think there's too much parity right now?
Well, yes. Why is that necessarily a bad thing?
Bad.
Because it's too like that. I enjoy dominant teams in the league.
Chris, tell me who you miss. Tell me what you told me.
Yeah, I like when there's good teams in the league that have.
No. Tell me specifically who you miss.
Oh, I don't miss, but I like when there's a villain, kind of like a team that everybody doesn't like. So yeah, your Patriots, Tom Brady and Belichick reign and stuff.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I actually like when the Dallas Cowboys are good. It's more fun. I'm actually fun. Honestly rooting. I'm not rooting for them. Because it gives you something to cheer against.
You see what I mean? That's good when there's a villain.
That's good. They're the villains. You want to have them be good.
I don't like
a team in week 5. Hold on. A certain week. Let me look at the Cowboys schedule.
I mean, I don't like when there's not enough parity like baseball where it's the same teams all the time. And I like the fact that the NFL does have parity, but I think it's too much. Like Mark Cabali just tweeted at what did he tweet here? He said,
Jesus, everybody's just a bunch of complaining babies. What do you want?
He was like, the NFL has finally achieved what they wanted. Every team in the league is average.
My God. Do you want unpredictability, then you complain about it. You complain about too much predictability. Just enjoy it, man. Come on.
No, we want a dominant team. We want a villain. We want the team.
I have a sound mind. Maybe it's because it's the commentator in me, but I don't necessarily view anything as a villain. I haven't viewed any team in this league as a villain probably since the 07 Patriots.
No, they need, but that's what I'm saying. We right now, Dallas is 6-7-2. We need them good. Because everybody
I don't even view Dallas as all that bad.
They're not that bad, but I like them this year. We need them good right now this year. They're good right now. That's good for the league. As we're going on an hour and a half on this podcast. But it feels good when in the middle of December they go to a certain NFC East opponent and they lose. And it'll bring joy to my heart.
Man, you're just a depraved NFC East fan.
No! Okay, all right, Chris. Isn't the league better when the Dallas Cowboys are good and the New Englands are good? Isn't more eyes on the TV?
Yeah, I like what, like I mentioned, I like when there's a villain, a team that people root against. And we kind of it might have been 3 weeks ago where man, there's a lot of parity in the league. There's no dominant team. And then last week it just blew up when there was all those upsets. And then the Fox pregame show came out with that segment where they were like, is there too much parity right now?
Man, what a bunch of complaints. This is when I just want this is why I love the most. Whenever it's just you know what? I'm not sure who could do it. Well, I'm just glad that my team has a chance. That's how I feel. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's always that one division. There's always that one conference that kind of just has everything where you're just not sure and nobody's really good, but you're just when will that team step up? Because this is the part that I like. It's all right, who's gonna step up?
Right now, guess who's winning? The 49ers at 3-5 are winning by 2 touchdowns over the Rams at 7-2.
You want that?
I feel like in past years there was at least 3 good teams in each conference.
I know.
And then the rest was parity. You didn't know.
The rest of that parity, we just want that villain. We want the super villains. I want my New Englands. I want my Dallas in the 90s. I want my who else was that good? I want that Legion of Boom. I want somebody that I want to have the eyes on.
Peyton Manning's Colts.
Peyton Manning's Colts. We want all that type of stuff. In the 90s, I love the greatest show. Late 90s, the greatest show on turf. I love that type of
Were they really villains?
There were villains, but they were good. They were beasting. They were beating everybody.
Maybe if you would have rephrased that as that, I want a really good team that just make things exciting for me instead of a villain necessarily.
It's not even a villain. Like, one of my favorite.
The wording that you put there is villain. It's just like I've never had a strong emotion for a team. It was really only the 07 Patriots that ever had that strong. Oh, I just really want you to get beat up, except for Randy Moss. But that's
maybe
how I feel.
Villain, but you want that team that's just like
you want that team to beat.
Yes, and we don't have it this year. And we didn't really have it last year or the year before.
Really, the team that beat, you could argue that a lot of people were really just licking their chops on the Steelers, especially late in that win streak.
They're still mediocre. We're not even talking about that.
Last year on the Steelers when they started 11-0.
That was villainry.
I knew the bottom was going to fall out. I'm going to tell you something. I knew they was going to lose to the Washington football team. You're lucky I wasn't on this podcast. I was like,
Blaine King literally put it together during that game. During that Cowboys game. Blaine King, I was on Twitter. Another Point Park personality.
That's what I got.
Yeah, I actually had it on there. The Steelers are going to lose to the football team. 5 months later, I added, they already knew. I was just sitting.
I was like, look, I had a feeling that was like, no, they're gonna go there. I'm like, the winning streak's gonna stop here, and then I'm like, because I thought that was the Tomlin special, last year's Tomlin special, but it wasn't because they ultimately won the division with a 7-9 record, so that doesn't count against the Tomlin special. But the Bengals game was the Tomlin special, and then hold on, let's see if any more Tomlin special potentials here. No,
I don't think there's really a Tomlin special anymore. This is an honorary Tomlin special.
Yeah, an honor. This is an honorary.
This is like the appetizer.
The appetizer.
This is like a hors d'oeuvres, man. This isn't a Tomlin special, but it's just like it's one of those where you're just gonna look back and saying like they didn't win, but they didn't lose, so it doesn't qualify. It's just something where you're just looking at it like, man, look at that. Look at that. Just like it's like sitting up on your wall like a deer's head above your fireplace.
Yeah, it was funny.
All right, so we've been doing this for like a minute and 8. More like an hour and 8. So we're just going to end this one right now before you just like basically want to throw your phone or whatever mobile device you have in a fire. But nonetheless, hey, make sure you give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and have a nice comment out there. We're also going to put out we're going to make sure we get like Twitter questions next time out as well because we really enjoyed those. And also, we're going to have a format next time because this is getting weird. But nonetheless, thank you so much for tuning to the Renegade Blitz, this 68-minute long edition. For Chris Ward and Brandon Walker, I'm Ty Polk. All right, we're done.
Thank you for listening to the Renegade Blitz podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Renegade Blitz, at @RBlitzPod, and at Blitz Videos. Read articles on RenegadeBlitz.com. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. The Renegade Blitz podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and wherever else you can listen to podcasts.